之前你买什么？
Venerable Sirs, Brother and Sister in the Dharma, Sukhi Hotu. I'm Siu Yin from BMSM YS, and I will be the MC for today's session. So welcome to Exploring the Reality series, which is organized by BMSM Youth Section to Venerable Nyaninda. And today will be our 6th episode entitled We Live Life According to Our Thinking. So just some gentle reminders. Please use your actual name in the Zoom room and also turn on your video if possible. And if you have faced any technical issue, please let us know via the chat box and our team will try to assist you. So without further ado, let's invite Brother Hao to lead us on the requesting for 3 refuges and 5 precepts from Bante Nyaninda, and then followed by a short mindfulness meditation up to 8:15 p.m. Brother Hao.
Good evening, everyone. Now we will request for 3 refugees and 5 precept. Aham bante hi saranena saha pancha sila dhammang yachami anugaham katawa silam detha me bante tudiyampi aham bante hi saranena saha pancha silam dhammang yachami anugaham katawa silam detha me bante tatiyampi aham bante ti saranena saha pancha silam dhammang yachami anugaham katawa silam detha me bante
Yamahang wadami tam wadeta.
aham bante
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa.
namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa
Buddhang saranam gacchami.
buddhang
Dhammam saranam gacchami.
dhammang saranang gacchami
Sangham saranam gacchami.
sanghang saranang gacchami
Dutiyampi buddham saranam gacchami.
Dutiyampi dhammang gacchami
Dutiyampi dhammam saranam gacchami.
Dutiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami
Dutiyampi sangham saranam gacchami.
Dutiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami
Tatiyampi buddham saranam gacchami.
Dutiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami
Tatiyampi dhammam saranam gacchami.
saranang gacchami
Tatiyampi sangham saranam gacchami.
Dutiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami
Tisaranena gamanang paripunam. Panatipata veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami.
Panatipata veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami
Adina dana veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami.
Adina dana veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami
Kamesu miccachara veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami.
Kamesu miccachara veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami
Musawada veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami.
Musawada veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami
Suramaraya maja pamadattana veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami.
Surameraya majjapamadatthana veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami
Idame silang asava kaya wahang hotu.
Idang me silang asavakaya waham hotu
Idame silang nibbanasa pacayo hotu.
Idang me silang nibbanasa pacayo hotu
Tisaranena saha panca silang dhammang sadukang katwa apamadena sampadeta.
Amma bante
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, we will now sit for a short while. First, make yourself comfortable. Try to keep your back straight, but in a very relaxed manner. Totally relax the top of the head. Relax the neck. Relax the whole body, the chest, the abdomen, the hands. Relax the buttocks, the thighs, knees, all the way to the ankle and the toes. Put attention on your heart. Feel the peace, contentment, and also gratitude in your heart. Grateful for the body to function properly, to give us a healthy body. Grateful for the heart to function properly. Allow this gratefulness, gratitude, peace, contentment to flow to the whole body, first to the top of the body, to the chest, to the lungs. Grateful for each organ for functioning properly, for giving us a healthy body. Allow this gratefulness, gratitude, peace to flow to the head, to the brain, to the eyes, ear, nose. Grateful to each part of the body. For giving us a healthy body. Also, allow this gratitude, peace, contentment to flow down to the abdomen, the intestines, the hands, the legs, all the way to the fingers and the toes. Grateful to every part of the body for giving us a healthy, functioning body. Continue to allow this energy of gratitude, peace, contentment to flow out to our teachers, our spiritual teachers, teachers who guide us in all ways, school teachers from kindergarten, primary, secondary to university, all the teachers who have guided us. We send our gratitude, peace, love, happiness to them. All the teachers in our life who has guided us. We wish them to be well and happy and send our gratitude to them. We are also grateful to all beings who have teachers in one way or another. We send our gratitude to them. And also to all the beings that we respect in this world. Next, we allow our gratitude to flow to our parents, grandparents, wishing them to be well and happy. Also, allow the gratitude to flow out to our family members, maybe wife, husband, children, brothers and sisters. Grateful for whatever help they have given us, all the support they have given us, and wish them to be well and happy. Continue to allow this gratitude to flow out to all our relatives, uncle, aunties, cousins, also wishing them to be well and happy, grateful for whatever support they've given us in the past and in present. Grateful for the time that they've given us. Continue to allow this gratitude to flow to all our friends, from young until now, school friends, university friends, work friends, colleagues. Grateful for all their help that they have given us, grateful for the time that they have spent with us, grateful for the time that we spend together. Wish them to be well and happy. Continue to allow this gratitude to flow out to all the neutral beings, strangers that we have met along the way, and also farmers who have provided food for us, the middlemen or the people who sell the food to us, people who has provided electricity supply to us, who maintain electricity supply, people who maintain the water supply for us. Have gratitude towards all these beings who have allowed us to live comfortably. We wish them to be well and happy. We are also grateful to all beings who have allowed us one way or another to come into contact with the Dharma, all the organizer of this series of talks, all the people who has put work into making this available. Wish them to be well and happy. We send our gratitude to them. Even grateful to people who has contributed towards building of the house that we live in now. Wish them to be well and happy. May all beings be well and happy. Continue to allow this gratitude to flow out to all beings. Even beings that might have given us difficulty, they allow us to learn lessons in life. So we are also gratitude to them for whatever lessons that we have learned in our life. May all beings be well and happy. Now feel your body. If you can feel your body, you can slowly open your eyes. Okay, we'll start with Namo Tassa 3 times, paying homage to the Buddha. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Okay, today I will start a little bit different. Someone, actually Paul Swan, wrote me an email and asked a few questions, which I think it's useful. So I will start with these questions and my answers to them, because just in case people misunderstood my series of talk, like Paul Swan did, then it will clarify your doubt. Okay. So the first question is, if current life is dream-like existence and not real, can we then take a careless approach without upholding any moral values or ethics, etc.? Okay, so this one I'm always very careful with this. Okay, so my answer is no, we can't take a careless approach, because not real does not mean nothing. Okay, I keep emphasizing throughout the series of talks that not real doesn't mean nothing. You are still committing karma in this dream existence, and at this moment you can only live in a dream existence because you are not awakened yet. So you will have to face those results of the karma action in this dream existence. Okay. Also, in this dream, it's not like the normal dream that we're talking about, that you wake up in the morning. In this dream existence that I'm talking about, when you die, you're still in the dream. When you're reborn in the next life, you are still in the dream until the day you get enlightened. So as long as you are still in this dream existence, karmic result will still come and affect you. So you have to follow, you cannot be careless, you cannot simply kill and steal. So this is very important thing. Also, when I say it's a dream, I mean that you are feeling your thinking of your circumstances and not your circumstances. And because this thinking, these thoughts are stories that you make up, it's just like a dream. So my dream is a metaphor. Okay, it's like a analogy. I'm not saying exactly it's a dream, it's an analogy, because what you are feeling, what you're experiencing is your thoughts, and your thoughts are created by you just like a dream. Also, throughout, I have never said that you will not face your karmic action, karmic result of your actions. In fact, you have no choice in whatever circumstances you face in life. It depends heavily on karmic results. Whatever happened to you every single moment depends heavily on karmic result. But so you have no choice on this, what happens to you, but you have a choice on how you respond to this karmic result. And because you have a choice on how you respond, means that you have a choice on how you think about it, then your experience also depends, you have a choice, because your experience depends on your response, your thinking. Okay. Now the next question is, the rest of the questions are similar. So the next question is there any point in encouraging a dying person to fight to get well, since it's a dream existence anyway? Again, dream doesn't mean anything, doesn't mean nothing. And my answer is, if you are awakened, maybe there might be no point to fight to get well, but you and I are not awakened yet. We are still in this dream, and we need to be alive. We need to prolong our life to continue to work towards awakening. So we need to fight to survive, because we need the time to the valuable human life to get awakening. Now, the third question is, since it is a dream existence, can this encourage people to take the easy way out on hard life by committing suicide? Again, you have the wrong idea that dream is nothing. It is not nothing. It is just like a rainbow. You can see it, but you can't really take it and bring it home. Like your experience, your daily experience, it's not solid. After you experience it, it becomes memory. You can't hold it. You can't capture it. Also, life only becomes hard if you take it too real. If you really see life, if you really see life is a dream existence, then life is not hard. So you will not commit suicide. Okay. And the next question is this correct? Since we made up stories about our world, means that this aspect is not real, but the physical body is real, right? My answer is, what do you mean by the physical body is real? if you mean that there's a solid physical Nyaninda, you are wrong, because every moment millions of cells die and is replaced by new cells. And according to science, there's a huge space between the proton and the neutron, the proton and neutron in the center, and the circling electrons. And supposedly that's 90% space. So there's no real solid physical Nyaninda, but you cannot say that there is no Nyaninda at all. There is an ever-changing illusory Nyaninda. Okay. Then the fifth question is, in this self-created dream existence, what is the impact of chanting and meditation or doing dana? Do they count at all? Yes, it counts, because as I've said, there is cause and effect in this reality, the only reality we have, which is the dream reality. Until you are awakened and enlightened, you only have one reality, which is the dream reality. Number 6, in this dream existence created, does that mean that there's nothing out there? Say if we see a chair in our room, does the chair exist on its own, or just a story or image by our mind? Same queries on trees, clouds, etc. outside. What the person mean is, does it mean that there's nothing out there? There's no chair, no cloud, and all that. All are created by our thought. Okay, my answer is, in all my talks, I never say that there's nothing out there. I'm saying that you never feel what is out there. You only feel your thinking of what is out there. However, there are scientists, current scientists like Professor Donald Hoffman, D-O-N-A-L-D-H-O-F-F-M-A-N, if you want to Google and find on YouTube, who hypothesized that the smallest unit of particle is consciousness, which means that everything is formed from consciousness, which means that there is nothing out there, because the smallest unit is consciousness. So this is a hypothesis, okay? But I'm not saying whether this is true or not true. Number 7, or we know that there is no self or other physical material. There is no self, but other physical material worlds still exist around us naturally and not created by our mind stories. What the person means is, there is no self, but there is chair, there is cloud, and so on. What my answer is, it doesn't really matter at all whether there is physical matter really exists out there, because you never feel or experience what is out there. You only experience or feel your thinking of the things out there. Okay. The last question for this person is, has Venerable heard of the famous US spiritual guru Eckhart Tolle? His power of now teachings are quite similar like yours, but he does not seem to agree on karma concept. Okay, definitely I've heard of Eckhart Tolle because he's very famous. In fact, I've read most of his books, but I would ask you all, please don't equate him with me, because what I'm trying to share with you all is based on my understanding of Buddha's teaching, while his is based on his insight. He just one day woke up and say, I realized this. Okay. Also, although his teaching is very useful and helpful to many people, I must admit, his now is a solid thing. There is a now. In Buddhism, even now is a dependently arisen phenomena. There is no solid independent now. In Buddhism, there is no such thing as a solid independent of anything. So there is no now that exists. Okay, now is dependent on, the present is depending on past and future. And in fact, now, past, present, future, all are concept in our mind. Time is a concept. This is what science says. There is actually no time. Time is only our imagination, our concept from our mind. And regarding this, he does not agree on the karmic concept. I don't know. I'm not, in all the books I've read, I've not seen him saying anything against karma. But if he doesn't believe in karma, then it's a dangerous view. And in Buddhism, it is one of the wrong view. Right view is the understanding of karma. So these are the questions and answer. Any questions on this first before I go on to recap and today's topic, so that I can clarify this dream thing? Any questions?
Hi Bante.
Yeah.
Bhante, yes, you mentioned about how we experience the world, and you said there's nothing. It doesn't. You said something about it doesn't matter whether there are physical, material things out there because we never directly experience them, but we only experience them through the thinking of the things, something like that, right? Okay, so in your language, you sort of call this somewhat like a dream kind of state, right? Okay, so my question really is this dream state, so to speak, also the case for like enlightened beings like Buddhas, Arahants, or maybe stream enterers? I'm not sure. Like, is there a stage or is there a state of mind where you I guess transcend or you surpass this sort of dream state, or is it always like that even for a Buddha?
Okay.
Does the Buddha go beyond that? Yeah.
Definitely Buddha go beyond that.
Okay.
Or not, what's the point? The ultimate goal of Buddhism is to awaken from this dream. Awaken from your thought-created world. Okay, but after awakening, they can still function in this thought-created world. They will still able to tune themselves to your thought-created world to talk to you. But they know that they are not affected anymore because they are like parents with the children playing the sandcastle. When the wave hit the sandcastle, the children will be crying, but the parents might also cry with the children, know that it's just to be with them. But they know, this is not real, this sandcastle.
To accommodate them in a sense,
yes,
right?
Yes.
Right. Follow-up question, Bhante. So an Arahant would know whether or not there are physical material things out there. Is that how you would say it, or?
I can't answer this question because I haven't seen anything in the text, and I'm not an Arahant.
Okay. Right. But certainly you would say like an Arahant would experience the world like very differently, right? From how an unenlightened being.
Even a Sotapan, the first stage of sainthood, will experience the world totally different compared to us.
Yeah, I guess I'm trying to get at this difference. Like, how is it? Maybe it's a huge like subject, but like what is the difference between how they perceive the world and how an unenlightened being perceives the world? Yeah.
Okay, very good question. Okay, I can't tell you exactly how they perceive the world because I'm not there yet, but I can give you a glimpse. Okay, imagine now all of us. This whole series is about this. That's why I stopped and paused to make sure you understand. This whole series is about we have been perceiving things that if someone says something, our anger comes from what he say. Okay? But it's not. Your anger comes from what you think he says. Someone do something and you feel very sad, you think that your sadness comes from what the person do. No, your sadness comes from what you think the person do. That's a very big difference. If you can see this, your whole life change because the way you look at life change. When the way you look at life change, your entire life will change. And that's what happens to a Sotapan and so on. This is just a glimpse. Imagine they changed the whole thing. It's just like last time they thought the earth is flat. Suddenly you realize the earth is round. Your whole concept of everything changes. Okay.
All right. Thank you so much, Bhante. Thank you. That was very helpful. Thank you.
Good question. Any other questions on this point before I?
Bhante, there's a question from Chan Wai Hong.
Yep.
Chan Wai Hong, you may on your video and unmute yourself to ask the question. Chan Wai Hong. Are you here, Chan Wai Hong? Yeah, he just posted another question.
Okay, maybe you can read out.
Okay. He asks, people usually have dreams when we sleep. So does meditators usually have dreams? Is having dreams good?
Okay, the answer to this question is there is no good or bad in dreams. Okay, meditators also can have dreams. Dreams can be many reasons. Sometimes during the daytime, no chance for certain emotions to let go. So your dreams allow you to let go certain emotions, or sometimes some trauma is too difficult for you to accept. Dreams allow you to replay the trauma in a milder way. Okay, meditators, I'm not sure about all meditators, but I dream a lot. Okay, is having dream good? I say there's no good or bad. Next question of this is, so when our perceptions change, we are less dreaming. Yeah, in a sense, when how you perceive the world change, then you are not lost in your thoughts. That's why you're not lost in a dream. I equate thoughts as dream because I find it fascinating. In a dream, you are creating the monsters that chase you and you're experiencing the monster. So same, your thoughts are creating the idea that the anger comes from outside. Someone is trying to beat you up, and then you experience it yourself. Okay, I think no more question. Okay, maybe I move on. Okay, one question. Does having nightmares a sign that we don't meditate well or frequent enough, or we are mentally weak? I don't think so. It's just that there's certain emotions that need to be released. How Sotapan perceive different with normal people? I don't really understand. I think what he or she means is, do you want to clarify, Lim, about this question, how Sotapanna perceive different with normal people? No?
Pandey just now mentioned even Sotapanna also would perceive differently with normal people. So how Sotapanna will perceive differently with normal person?
Okay, I get what you mean. Okay. Number one, Sotapan will definitely get this idea that all your problems doesn't come from outside. It comes from your thought. Definitely Sotapan will get this. But Sotapan also realized that there is no self. There is no Nyaninda. He has gone beyond this limited self. So he don't have this, when he realized this, he don't have, my hand is very painful, maybe I have cancer. He don't have this problem. It's not stuck in this self. He don't have to feel very upset when someone talk about his reputation and all that. He don't have to protect this self-reputation and so on, because he has gone beyond this self. He has broke this idea that there is a Sakaya Ditti, there is a self. Okay. Wow, this very, Boon Siu is very ambitious. Bante, are we able to achieve Sotapanna? This one will take many talks to explain. But first, try to see that all your problems, which means your emotions, don't come from the outside, come from your thoughts. Try to see that first step first. Try to take that first step before you take many steps towards Sotapan. But it can be achieved in this very life. Why are certain dreams feel so real when you can cry and laugh in that dream? Dreams are very real, because that's why I say I'm fascinated with dream, because in the dream, you are the one who create the monsters, and you can get totally frightened by the monsters that you create. So, but it's the same. If you equate it, look at a normal daily life, you get very angry with one person because your thinking say that he said something bad about you. So you are creating that scenario and you are experiencing it. Okay.
Bante, is it mean Sotapanna won't angry? You mean,
no.
Is it Sotapanna won't angry with people, with environment, anything happen around them? Is that if person achieve Sotapanna state, they won't angry one?
Okay, no, because Sotapan have not cut off the anger. Anger is only anagami. So Sotapan will sometimes also immediate reaction, because he don't keep thinking there's no self. He wouldn't walk like this. So he will once in a while, because of his habit, he will still think there's a self. So he will get lost in anger for a while maybe, and then he will get out of it. They give that example is like, you have been going into you have been staying in house number 1, let's say, for 100,000 years, okay? Now you become a Sotapan, you move to house number 10, okay? But sometimes you forgot, because you have been staying in house number 1 for 100,000 years, sometimes you forgot, you still enter house number 1. So same, a Sotapan will sometimes still get angry because the habits still carry. But once someone point it out, or after a while they will realize, they won't hold on to it. Okay, this is good clarification. No, I will move on. Okay, so I will start with the, but Bante, how if the person we meet is really bad, wicked, etc. people? Okay, what happens is, if you don't get lost in your thoughts, your wisdom inside you will help you better to deal with people that is bad, wicked, etc. If you are lost in your thoughts, if you come from a negative position to deal with these people, you won't be able to deal so well. If you come from a stressful situation, stressful emotion to deal, you won't deal so well. If you come from love, from peace, in fact, you deal better. And in fact, I give you a very good example of, there's this person who was in a workplace facing colleagues who give her a lot of problem. So she went to see a personal coach who explained to her about this, that your emotions, feelings come from your thinking, not from outside. After she realized this, 1 week later, she talked to the personal coach. The personal coach asked her, how did it help in your life? And she says, I haven't really practiced it. She said, what do you mean you haven't really practiced it? Didn't you go to work? She said, yeah, I did go to work, but somehow my colleagues didn't really give me any trouble anymore. So sometimes the way we perceive people will cause the problem. If you think people are always out there to get us, are bad people, they will feel our energy and they will be bad towards us because of our thinking that they're bad people. Okay, but I'm not saying that there's no bad people. In any case, if you come from love, come from a peaceful mind, you'll be able to deal them better. Bante, can a dream become true? Sometimes, sometimes not, but don't fully believe your dream. If you buy 4-digit number according to your dream, sometimes might come out, sometimes might not. So don't fully believe. Okay, anyway, I'll move on to...
Bante,
okay, go ahead.
can we equate dream as manifestation?
Dream manifestation of what? Like some reality, something that will come true? That's what you mean?
No, I mean, sometimes we manifest, right? Can the manifest become like a dream, or can a dream become like a manifestation?
What do you mean by manifestation? Like
imagine something?
Yeah, it could be, but if you're thinking that could a dream be a sign that what I imagine will come true, then maybe not.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Okay, maybe I'll move on to a recap. Okay, so recap of episode 1, thought missing link, which is very simple. We experience our thought, not our circumstances. Hence, our feelings come from our thoughts and not our circumstances. We feel our thoughts personalize our experience. So this is important. We turn the normally impersonal experience to impersonal experience to personal existence. So actually it's our thought that create the self. So this is also helping us to move towards non-self. If you can see that it's our thoughts that create the idea of I am an angry person, I'm a forgetful person, and so on. It comes from our thoughts. And the good news is, no matter how difficult any situation is, you are not more than one thought away from a new reality, because your reality comes from your thoughts. So just a change of a thought, a new reality. Episode 2, we talk about we are naturally peaceful and calm, although not normally so. All our emotions are just waves that are ever present above the, are waves above the ever-present calm water. So our emotions are the waves, but there is a calm water beneath it always. Hence, we don't have to be afraid of our emotions. Our sadness, our anger, depressions, and all that, there is always calmness beneath it. We just need to know how to turn our attention to the calmness. So one thing, if we learn not to be afraid of our emotions, that will change your world, okay? Because we are always afraid of our anger, we are afraid of our worry, then you worry that you're worried, you're angry that you're angry, and you never get out from there. Episode 3, Karuna, compassion, is an inseparable part of metta, loving kindness, universal benevolence, one. Also mudita, selfless happiness, and also upeka, equanimity. So it is 4 things together. If you keep dwelling in these 4 divine emotions, metta, karuna, mudita, upeka, we will lose these limitations of the self and regain the interconnectedness with all beings. Hence, we will realize that we are not only part of nature, we are nature itself, because we are all interconnected. Episode 4, what are we? We are formless energy. You can call it peace, love, contentment, and so on. Episode 5, which is just finished, mental weight loss. Basically, if you see that you yourself is the one creating your mental weight, you will stop causing mental weight, especially if you see that it is not beneficial to create mental weight. You no need, okay, one thing I want to stress is no need for you to know your contents of your thoughts. You just check the volume of your thinking. If you have rev up your thinking, that means you increase a lot of thinking, means you have mental weight. So what to do? Just don't believe blindly in your thinking. Don't continue to increase, to rev up the thinking. Like, driving a car, if you don't put your foot on the accelerator, the thinking will stop. You don't have to slam on the brake. You can say that we have built a strong habit of believing in our thinking and reacting to our daily circumstances based on these thoughts. This is our habit. But habits are formed from reward-based learning. This is what we learned in the last episode. When we obtain rewards or think that we will obtain benefits for certain actions, we will keep doing these actions. So you have to see that believing blindly in your thoughts is not beneficial to you. There is no reward. If you can see this, then it will help you to get out from the habit. Now, episode 6 is about we live our life according to our thinking, according to how we think about the world, we believe our world. So no matter how much money you have, if you have this insecure thinking about money, you will always live in a life lack of money, okay? Similarly, if you keep thinking everyone in the world is out there to get you, to take advantage of you, you will always live a life of fear. I know of a friend who thinks that everyone out there, everyone he meets is trying to cause trouble for him. So because of this thinking, even when people try to help him, he thinks that that person has a complicated hidden motive to cheat him. So it depends on your thinking. You live in that kind of world. Okay, so your thinking will influence you, the type of life you live, but you don't have to believe your thinking. Then you don't have to live that type of life. And when I say, back to just now this one, I'm also not asking people to go the other extreme to believe and trust every single person. But I'm saying that if you live with a mindset, that paranoid mindset that everyone is out there to get you, then you live a very sad life, a very fearful life, okay? Now, next point is not believing your thinking doesn't mean not doing anything, okay? One way to help you is to see what are real problems, what are imaginary problems created by your thoughts. If you don't have money to pay your rent, your monthly rent of the place that you stay, you have a real problem. Okay? Real problem have real solution. The solution might be to earn more money, to borrow money, to spend less, or you might want to rent a cheaper place, or you might want to stay with your relatives, friends, and so on. Humans are very resilient and very adaptive. Real problem is not suffering, actually. We will find a real solution to it. However, if you keep worrying that maybe I might be homeless because I can't pay the rent, you have an imaginary problems created by thoughts. There is no real solution to your worry, to this imaginary problem. You just have to stop believing your thinking. Okay? to differentiate real problems and imaginary problems is that real problems don't go away even if you stop thinking about it, but imaginary problems will go away if you stop thinking about it. Okay? If you stop thinking about your rent, you still have to pay your rent. Okay? But if you stop thinking about this worry that you will go homeless, yeah, then this worry won't come anymore. So the imaginary problem will go away if you stop thinking. Real problems will not go away if you stop thinking. Again, another example, if your kid is not doing well in your studies, you have a problem, you have a real problem. But real problem has a real solution. Solution might be to get the kid a tuition teacher or a private tutor to find out, what is how to get the kid more interested in his or her studies. Or maybe that subject is not suitable for your kid. Your kid might have to drop the subject. Like one of my brother, since lower secondary, he already, in his mind, he wants to be an accountant. So he's not interested in physics, chemistry, biology, but we have to take those subjects. So he couldn't do well because he's not interested. So it all depends, what the person's interest is. So real problem has a real solution. However, if you're angry and worry that your kids is not doing well in his or her studies, you have an imaginary problem created by your thoughts. If you try to solve these imaginary problems, you have one big messy problem, because now your aim of solving your kid's studies problem is not about helping him. It's so that you are not angry and worried. Then it is about you, not about the kid. So how to solve this is, if you stop having angry thoughts, your anger will go away. If you stop having these worrying thoughts, your worry will go away. And the best possible thing will happen is, if this anger and worry go away, you will be able to solve more time, more energy to solve the real problem from a place of love and peace. Okay. And now I will move on to talk about the video that we watched this week, this month actually. So I'll give you a summary so that you can understand the video more. So basically this video is to show you that we live our life according to our thinking. Okay, the way you think how life works will determine how you live your life. So this is very important. I repeat, the way you think how life works will determine how you live your life. And it's given in the video that if you don't understand how things work, you might do a lot of seemingly stupid things, not because you do anything wrong, but because you don't understand how things work. You have a misconception about how things work. And this is what is called ignorance or delusion in Buddhism. Our ignorance and delusion is not about not knowing how to solve mathematics. It's about you don't understand how life works. You have a misconception about the reality of how life works. If you understand how things work, you can do things seemingly very wisely. And in the video, an analogy is given is, if you don't know that the hot and the cold tap has been switched, when you turn on the cold taps, it will burn your hand. And then you think that cold tap means burn hand, and you will try all methods to try to solve this burning water. Okay, but if you know actually the hot tap is actually cold tap is hot tap, you just need to turn on the correct tap. You don't have to find all strategies to cope with this burning water. So knowing how life works will change how you live your life totally. Okay, if you see how life works differently, all your habit patterns change too. No need effort to change, because naturally we will find a better way if you know how life works. But the problem is, we have been brainwashed since our great-great-great-grandparents' time that our experience of life comes from our circumstances, things, people, situation out there. Given this thinking we have, we would try to change the circumstances to make our life experience better. Unfortunately, that doesn't work. Life doesn't work that way. Our experience don't come from these circumstances. So making these circumstances better doesn't necessarily make our life better. Okay. Further, these circumstances that we face is beyond our control. And every time we fail to try to control, change these circumstances, we will start blaming ourselves for the failure, instead of seeing that the problem is we understand wrongly about how life works. Once we really genuinely see the experience of life comes from our thoughts, we will respond to lives very differently. Okay, we will see the video, then you will know.
When you understand how something works, it's very easy to take it into account in everything you do. If you don't understand how something works, it's very easy to not take it into account. It's very easy to make mistakes, not because you're doing anything wrong based on what you understand, but because you don't understand how it works. The analogy that was in the program for this evening was, imagine that you've, just for whatever reason, had the hot and cold taps reversed in your mind, and the one that was supposed to be hot, cold, and the one that was supposed to be cold was hot, and you didn't understand that. You just thought, well, I guess here the cold tap burns my hands, and it's just something I got to learn to put up with. And so you find a coping strategy, right? That's what you do. You would find a way to cope with the fact that every time you go to wash your hands, you're going to burn them. So maybe you put the soap under there, then you put the face cloth under there and you use that to wipe it off. You'd get creative. Maybe you just decide that, you know what, there's nothing I can do about it, so I'm just going to get burned, and I'll just develop calluses. I'll get calloused to this so it won't hurt me so much anymore. Maybe you'll decide to just stop washing, right? You'll find a coping strategy. We always do. Now imagine that you've been doing it that way for 5 years, 10 years. Your parents did it that way. If it was good enough for your grandparents, it's good enough for you. And then one day somebody comes along and goes, have you ever tried the other tap? You go, what do you mean? They go, well, look. And they turn on the other tap, and you're kind of scared to put your hand under it. You don't really trust it. But you trust them enough to try it. So you put your hand under, and it's like, this doesn't burn. Well, how many times does that have to happen before you just start using the new tap? Yeah, thank you. I was just curious. Maybe you had a different answer to me. It would be once. Right? Now that goes in the face of modern psychology. It says that habits get deeply ingrained and we get these grooves in our brain, and it takes a lot of effort to change a pattern that's been there, especially if it's a childhood pattern, especially if it's a genetic pattern that was passed down from generation to generation. But with a new understanding, there's no reprogramming necessary. When you see a better way, you'll take it. Now, you might occasionally, not thinking, turn on the old tap and go, ah, but then you'll just flick the other tap on. No problem. Well, it's the same thing with life, with our experience of life. We have been taught from birth, and our parents were taught, and our grandparents were taught, and their grandparents were taught, since the beginning of recorded time, that the world worked from the outside in. That our experience of life came from our circumstances in life. It comes from our environment. It comes from the people in our life. It comes from the politics of our life. It comes from our parents. It comes from all the places outside us that our experience supposedly comes from. So of course, just like finding a way to deal with the burning tap, we have developed strategies over millennia for trying to shape the world in such a way that we have a better experience. Right? That's the dream of every generation, is to create a better life for the children. And that better life is almost always about better circumstances. It's about having more money, more reliable source of money, better skills, more of the stuff of life that will make your life better. It is the goal of a progressive society to better its conditions, to better the experience of its people. And if the world actually worked that way, that'd be awesome. And the problem is, because we think the world works that way, when it doesn't better our experience, when we have more than we have ever had at any time in history, and people are more miserable than at any time in history, We assume that the problem is us. We must be doing it wrong. We haven't done enough yet. We haven't made conditions enough better. We haven't become enough better as people. And it's completely innocent. If the world really worked that way, that would be a totally logical conclusion to come to, would it not? What I'm proposing this evening is that the problem is not you and your lack of discipline. The problem is not that you have not been trying hard enough or that you didn't get the breaks growing up. The problem is not that you were born in the wrong time, in the wrong culture, that you've got the wrong refrigerator, that you drink the wrong beer, whatever you think it is. It's not that you married the wrong guy or married the wrong girl. It's that you don't understand how the system actually works. And when you start to understand how the system actually works, a whole new set of behaviors will start making sense to you. And a whole old set of behaviors will stop making sense to you, and you will change like that.
Okay, so basically the video tells us, we have been looking at the world in a different way. If you change the way you look at the world, your whole life will change. And one point I want to add is also that the circumstances we face are beyond our control most of the time. That's why I always say pain is sometimes unavoidable, but suffering is always optional. You can't control what happens to you. So if we think we can control our circumstances, we will try harder to control our people, situation, things out there. And that will get us into difficulty. I'm not saying that not do anything, but you cannot have, you never have absolute control on what's out there. Like the weather, we never try to control the weather. Like it's raining now, you don't try to stop the rain so that it's more quiet, because we know we can't control the weather. But do we know that we also have absolute no control over most of our circumstances? We have no control over what our boss is going to say to us, what our husband, wives, and all that is going to say to us. We can influence, but we cannot control them. Similarly, we don't even have full control over our body. When the body wants to get sick, it gets sick. We can't have absolute control on it. So what I'll do is next is use a Dhammapada story to show that how we live our life according to our thinking and how we have no control over our circumstances. This Dhammapada story is Dhammapada story number 2 on this person called Mata Kundali and his father. So what I'll do is I will tell the stories, but also along the way give commentary on it. So now Mata Kundali's father is a very extremely rich person, very, very rich. But the problem is he believes that every single cent that he earns must be saved. So although he's very rich, he lives in a state of mind that's not enough. I call it, he lives in poverty, although he has a lot of money. So because the problem is we live in our ideas, beliefs, opinions, and not our circumstances. So even though we can be very rich, if we keep thinking that we need to, we are not enough, we need to save more money, then we are living in poverty. So this Mata Kundali's father, his name is, he never give away anything. So his name become Adina Pubaka. Dina means give, Adina means not give, Pubaka means before. He had not given anything before. So given the thinking he had, he become an extreme miser. Okay, we do things according to what we think. But are we doomed? No, thoughts can change in a moment. But can we control our thoughts? Not really. Thoughts are too fast. So what we can do actually is not believe in the thoughts, not get lost in the thoughts. Now back to this story. It is a tradition in India at that time to give earrings to young children. Although this Adina Pubaka only has one son that he loves very much, he was even too miserly, too stingy to pay a goldsmith to make a pair of earrings for his son. So he beat out the gold himself and he himself made a pair of burnished, self-polished earrings, which is, of course, not so polished, not so nice. So the son's name is called Mata Kundali, burnished earrings. Now, when the son was 16 years old, the son had jaundice. So again, we have no control over what happened to us. We can try our best to keep ourselves healthy, but what happened to us, the karmic result, or called vipaka, we have no control. So but we have choice on how we respond to what happened to us. But what happens is, given Adina Pubaka, his mind is always on saving money. He was so stingy that he refused to get a doctor to treat his son. And remember, it's not about good or bad, because in his thinking that life is about saving, keeping, not spending money, keeping as much as possible and not spending. So we do the things the best we can given the thinkings we had. So given his thinking that spending money is bad, he just asked a few doctor friends regarding what is the appropriate medicine, and he made the medicine himself. Okay, you might think that's very silly, how can we do that? But do you realize that actually a lot of us, we do very silly things based on our thinking? Now, his son got worse and worse. Finally, this Adina Pupaka, the father, decided to get a doctor to treat the son, but it was already too late. The doctor knew that the boy was beyond saving and refused to treat the boy because he didn't want to ruin his reputation. Now, although the son was dying, Adina Pupaka was still thinking about money. Okay, he was worried that his relatives and friends who came in to visit will see the wealth he has. So he decided to move the son out of the house and let him out in the terrace. So no one will come into the house, won't see his wealth, so that he don't have to give away any of his wealth. You might think he's stupid, but he did what his thinking tells him. Now the Buddha, with his net of compassion, saw that he would be able to help Mata Kundali, and so the Buddha came to visit. The presence of the Buddha can bring a person to the natural calmness and peace, because Buddha is the Dhamma, and he vibrates, he resonates in this calmness and peace. So seeing the Buddha, Mata Kundali enter into a state of calm and peace. And with extreme respect to the Buddha, this is a meritorious deed, and the ideal, having resonated the ideal of ultimate peace and calm, he passed away peacefully. So he also was cultivating his mind, as in, making his mind back to the calm state, and that's also a meritorious deed. So he was reborn in Tawatimsa heaven. So this one, I also want to point out that last thought moment in Buddhism is very important. Unless there are heavy karma, like killing father, mother, or arahant, or killing father, mother, or an arahant, your thought before death, your last thought before death will determine the next birth. Okay, unless you have done any other bad karma or very, very good karma. Notice that our thought even determine our next birth, not just in this life. Okay, what about all the good? Then you ask, if our last thought moment determine the next birth, what about all the other good and bad things we did? They will follow us. Okay, don't worry. They will follow us like a shadow. But the important thing is the last thought moment is very important. Okay, now back to the story. When the son died, Adina Pupaka started thinking how he missed his only son, how he didn't do enough to save his son, and he dropped into depression. He started to go to the son cemetery every day and start crying there. So now his thinking changed from keeping his wealth to missing his only son. Now he has depressive feelings because he keeps thinking depressive thoughts and remorseful thoughts. Okay. Now you might think, how come we can change so fast? Actually, our thinking can change very, very fast. And we don't use logic. Our thinkings change and our emotions change, and we follow our emotions. We are not logical beings, okay? So, but the son saw this. The son who is born in the heavenly realm saw that the father has changed, and he realized that actually in life, the thoughts, like I said just now, can change very fast. You don't need a tragic event to change this. But tragic event has already happened, so the son still wants to help the father. He come down in the form of a youth that looked exactly like his former self, and he flung to the ground and started weeping. Adina Pubaka, the father, was very curious because he saw this person look exactly like his son, And he asked, why this person who looked exactly like his son was crying. So he asked, wearing such beautiful clothing, why are you weeping? Then his son, who is now the beautiful, handsome youth, replied, I have obtained a solid gold chariot, but I could not get a pair of wheels for it. Now, seeing this youth look exactly like his son, Adina Pubaka sincerely wanted to help him. So he said, just name whatever wheels you want. Even if it's gold, silver, whatever, diamond, I will get them for you. The son realized the father was so stingy, couldn't even employ a doctor for him, now wanted to pay any amount for a stranger that looked like him. It's like, it doesn't seem, like I say, our mind doesn't seem very logical, but humans are not logical beings. This one I have to keep emphasizing. We think we are logical, but we are not. We are emotional beings, and we are never logical. So we do things according to emotion. So the father's emotion now is depression, really miss the son and feel guilty. And this is also due to his now change of thoughts. And normally what happens is when our emotion change, we will use logic to justify our emotion. So logic comes later. Now the youth asks, because he wants to test his father, so he says, how large are you willing to procure the wheels for me? The father says, as large as you reach. And the son says, then I want the sun and the moon. And the father says, no, you're very silly for wanting something that can never be obtained. You will die before you obtain the sun and the moon. And the son says, who is more silly? The person who weeps for what never exists anymore, or the person who weeps for what exists? He says that the sun and moon I can see, it exists, but you are weeping for a dead person who doesn't exist anymore, who has gone forever. So who is more silly, more stupid? So this statement wakes up Adina Pupaka. It hits him like a brick, and he confessed that it's more silly for him to weep for a son that is dead and gone. And he said these few lines. He says, when I was on fire and the fire was fed with ghee, with this oil, you pour water on the fire as it were and extinguish all my grief. You drew out the arrow that was in me, the arrow that was in my heart. Although I was dead with sorrow, you removed my sorrow for my son. And that father, Adina Pupaka, asked, because he was very grateful, he asked, who are you? And the son said, your son who was reborn in the Tawa Timsa. The father said, but I never saw you give any alms, either little or much, in your own home. How did you, and I also never see you keep fast day. That means you didn't take the 8 precepts, or you didn't do any merits. How can you become reborn in the heavenly realm? So the son said, as I lay in my home sick, afflicted, oppressed with a grievous ailment, my body weakened by disease, I saw the Buddha come. I see the Buddha coming who is free of passion, free of doubt, happy and of high wisdom, with joyful mind and alert. I pay homage to the Buddha, with hands reverently clasped. By the performance of this work of merit, I obtain this Tawa Timsa heaven. So meritorious deed, especially like I say in my yesterday's Buddhism for beginners, if it's done to a very pure person, immediate, you get very high result. So he say, by this work of merit was born in Tawa Timsa. As the youth spoke, the father Adina Pubaka was suffused with joy. He said, wonderful, marvelous, that such should be the fruit of a reverent situation. I too, with joyful mind and believing heart, seek refuge in the Buddha in this very day. The son advised the father to give dana to the Buddha and the Sangha, and the father did. During the dana, the father asked about whether it's possible to go to Tawa Timsa heaven just by paying respect to the Buddha. The Buddha told him, well, you have just witnessed yourself that your son Mata Kundali came down to talk to you. And he again invite Mata Kundali to come down for heaven to bear witness to this. And then the Buddha uttered these famous verses of Dhammapada, verse 1 and 2. This is verse 2. Mano pubangama dhamma, mano seta, mano maya, manasa che panya pasana nena basati wa karoti wa tato nam sukha manveti chaya wa anapayini. Thoughts is the forerunner of all phenomena. Thoughts is the chief. All things are made of thought. If one speaks or acts with wholesome thought, happiness follows one, even as a shadow never fades. Shadows will always follow you. Now, briefly, how not to be trapped by our beliefs, opinions, and ideas, like this Adinapupaka trapped by his thoughts, thinking. There's an advice by the Buddha in Udana 110, Bahya Sutta. I mentioned this before, but I'll mention again. Here, the Buddha says, here in Bahya, you should train yourself thus. In the seen, there will be merely what is seen. In the heard will be merely what is heard. In the sense will be merely what is sensed. In the cognized will be merely what is cognized. In this way, you should train yourself, Bahya. When Bahya, for you, in the seen is merely what is seen, and so on and so on. In the cognized is merely what is cognized. Then Bahya, you will not be with that. When Bahya, you are not with that, then Bahya, you will not be in that. When Bahya, you are not in that, then Bahya, you will be neither here nor beyond nor in between the two. Just this is the end of suffering. In that means you are stuck in your thinking, the identity, the personality, or yourself. So you can say, so when you see your kids, your husband, your wife, your boss, try not to add your normal concepts like my lazy kids, my stubborn husband, or nagging wife, or demanding boss, and so on. Try to see them as if you are seeing them for the first time. This seeing as just seeing, hearing as just hearing. Not add your extra concept, belief, opinion on your background. So if you do that, you will seeing things like for the first time. In fact, you might fall in love for the first time again with your husband and wife because you are seeing them for the first time. You are seeing your boss, you are seeing your kids for the first time. In order to do this better, you need to have stronger awareness and mindfulness of the concept or belief that you add in every time when you see things. Okay, and in order to do that, you need the curiosity and have the fun element to explore. That every time when you see something, you are actually adding a lot of your background, belief, concept into that. You can actually see it in your everyday life. So it's something that you can practice every day. Now, what I'll do is few more points. There's some stories, but I will skip the stories for maybe next time. I want to also show you that our idea of happiness and sadness is not very accurate. Okay, I just want to show you that because we live in our thinking of happiness and sadness is also not very accurate. So one example is we'll do a poll question. Okay, there's two questions. I will repeat the questions, but please hear clearly the questions and then you answer, very easy. You answer yes or no, okay? So first question is, there is a Mr. A who win big in lottery. Maybe he win 100 million US dollars, okay? My question is, after 1 year, not immediately, after 1 year, will his happiness be more than before he won the lottery? Okay, you either answer yes or no. Everyone get this? Okay, no, there will be a poll question for you to answer. The second question is, a person, Mr. B, met with an accident and become handicapped. Okay. Again, a year later, will this person, Mr. A, or Mr. B, sorry, become sadder than before that accident? Okay, 1 year later, will this person become, after having been handicapped 1 year later and compare, will it be sadder than before the accident? So answer yes or no for question 1 and question 2. Okay, if you think the person who win lottery will be happier, you answer yes. If not, no. And the other one, if you think the person will be sadder, you answer yes. If not, no. Okay. Please answer at the poll question and we will, while waiting, I want to share, while waiting for the tally to come up, I want to share another example. Okay, they have done this test. They have done this test that we are hopeless at judging what makes us happy. This is why I told this as a real life test. There's a group of researchers waited at a foothill of a trekking path where there's a lot of people who do trekking every day. Okay, and this researcher offer $10 for the daily trekkers to help to carry a piece of brick up to the top. Just very simple job, just a piece of brick. Okay, so the trekkers were very happy because every day they walk up, it's the same, you know, they're not doing anything extra and it's not very heavy a brick and they get $10 for free. So everyone will do that. Okay, now after a few days, the researcher every day will pay. After a few days, the researcher tells these trekkers that, no, now we decided since it's so easy for you, we only pay $5. You know what happened? Most of the trekkers thinks that they are cheated because, you know, from $10 now they only get $5 and they refuse to carry the brick anymore. But can you see that the trekkers are still getting $5 for free? If for me, I would still carry because there's no difference. I still walk up the same and I get $5. But in their mind is, no, I've been cheated. It used to be $10. How come it's $5? Yeah, but it used to be you get zero. So in that sense, you know, our mind tricks us on what makes us happy or make us sad. Okay, and to me, this is my version of people who are buying shares in the share market. To me, it's people, let's say, they buy a stock at 2 ringgit. When it goes up to 2 ringgit, they don't want to sell because they think it will go to 4 ringgit. And then the share crash down to 50 cents. Some people will sell and then they get very sad. But some people will keep it, you know, because they think one day it will go back up. And then the share go back up to 180 and they sell it and they say, I'm so happy because I only lose a little. But I thought that the aim of the game is to make a lot. But they go back to 180, which is like short of the 20 cents that they bought, and they say, I'm very happy because I didn't lose a lot. So our judgment of happiness and sadness is usually not very correct. Anyway, back to the poll question. Do we have the result? Yeah, so no is the correct answer because it's a real study that they did. A person who won the lottery, a year later, he didn't become happier. And in fact, nearly all the cases, they become more unhappy, in fact, sadder. Why? Because once they get this huge amount of money, a lot of them suddenly got rich, they don't know what to do. And they keep spending that. And in fact, most of them lose their money in a short time. And then they have problems with friends, relatives coming to want a share of the money. So in the end, they become much sadder. And the other one, actually, it didn't, humans are extremely resilient. We adapt. Even the person become handicapped, they have done survey. After a year, they don't become sadder. They just adapt to whatever situation that they have. So let me take, I think I will stop here for a while. There's some other stories, but I would prefer to take questions first, just so that you know I get feedback whether we are on the same page.
Right.
Any questions?
Thank you, Venerable, for the Dhamma teaching. So we are now in the Q&A session. So brother and sister in the Dhamma, you may raise your hand, and once your name is called out by us, you may unmute yourself, turn on your video, and ask questions directly to Bhante. Then question from the floor.
Can I know how to get rid of being remorseful?
Oh, how to get rid of being remorseful? Okay. The best way, of course, is through wisdom, as in not to dwell and believe in your thoughts. That's why in the whole series, I keep emphasizing that your feeling of remorse comes from your thinking, and your thinking is created by you. So try not to increase your thinking. If you can, this is the best. If you can't, one way to solve it is try to ask, if you are remorseful because you have done something wrong or not do something that you should do, you go in front of a Buddha image and ask forgiveness and make a determination not to do it again. That will help you to not get stuck in this remorse feeling. Or think of the good merits, the good qualities of the Buddha. Is that okay?
Well, I think it's not that simple, because what happened is that I was looking after my mom when she was sick, but I didn't treat her that well. That's why I become remorseful after she passed away. She passed away 1 year already.
Okay. One way is to tell yourself that being remorseful is not going to help the situation. What you can do is now to do a lot of good merits to help to pay back that. In Buddhism, what we can do is you can help to do a lot of good things and then transfer the merits to her. Because you dwelling in remorse is not going to help anyone. At least do something good and transfer the merits.
Okay, thanks.
Bante, there's a question regarding the dream just now from Crystal Light. She asked, Bante, can a dream be connected in any way to our previous life?
Yeah, this one hard to say. Dreams can be connected to many things. We can't, to me, the best is not to interpret too much from the dream.
Can I know something about deja vu?
Sorry, can you a bit louder?
There's a term called deja vu. Like something happened and you know that you have experienced it before.
Okay. So what's your question?
My question is, does this thing deja vu really happen?
Yeah,
Something
possible because we have lived many lives. So sometimes we might meet someone we thought we have met before. That's probably in the past life we have met before. So yeah, you could have deja vu because we have lived many, many lives.
Okay, thanks.
Yes, Bante. Can I ask a question? I want to ask a question, Bante.
Yeah, go ahead.
How do we forget our fear? Something like yam ying.
I can't hear properly.
How do we forget our anxious or fear?
How?
Bante, he's talking about in Chinese. He said, how do we actually, the yin yin, that maybe something happens in the past that it caused the yin yin in our mind. How do we actually release the fear? Is
Yes.
it, brother?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yang yin.
Yeah, if you have fear, the best way is actually think of the Buddha. Take refuge in the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, which is what we did at the beginning. The Buddhang Saranang Gacchami, Dhammang Saranang Gacchami, Sanghang Saranang Gacchami, and think of all the good merits of the Buddha, the Itipiso, Bhagava, and so on.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Sister Chan beeping just now unmute herself. Sister Chan, do you have any questions? Is there any questions from the floor? Then you may raise your hand and then we will unmute you. You can ask the question. no more questions.
Any questions regarding to today's topic especially? If not, maybe I might just tell one more story from Dhammapada. Any questions? Okay, just want to check the sound. Can you hear me clearly? Because your sounds are very weak. You can hear me, right?
Yes, Bante, we can hear you.
We can hear you too.
Okay.
And the weather is not good. It's raining.
Yeah, it's very heavy rain here. Because all your sound is very, very soft suddenly. Okay, maybe easier. Let me tell another story from Dhammapada. Okay. So this is Dhammapada story number 1 about a monk called Chakupala. Okay. So this person, he becomes a monk when he was middle-aged, but he was very energetic on his practice. He tried very hard on his practice, but he think that extreme effort is needed for awakening, and he didn't lay down to sleep. And that's one of the Dutanga practice of not lying down to sleep. Okay. But because when he practiced this, his eyes started having tears and become very blurry. Now, remember, I keep saying we have no control over what happened to us. Only we have ability to respond to what happens to us. So, and what happens to us has to do a lot with our past lives, past action in this life, and also past life. Now, seeing his condition, the other monks brought a doctor to try to heal him. However, the medicine given by the doctor has to be applied while he was lying down. Okay, thinking that he cannot break his, because he wants to keep his non-lying down practice, he refused to lie down. Unfortunately, when he refused to do so, he went blind. However, due to his past perfection, parami, Chakupala becomes an arahant. He free from all defilements. After becoming an arahant, he was still very diligent in his sitting and walking meditation. One day after the rain, he did his walking meditation as usual, but he doesn't realize that there's a lot of insects that was crawling along his walking path. Later, when someone comes to visit, the monks comes and visit, they complain to the Buddha saying that how can Chakupala kill so many insects on his walking path? So the Buddha asked them whether they saw Chakupala kill the insects. They say no, they didn't see it. The Buddha said, just as you didn't see Chakupala killing the insects, he didn't see the insects while he was doing walking meditation. So intention is very important in creating karma. Buddha says, Chatanahang kamang vadami. When you have mental volition, you already created karma. And then the Buddha explained the cause, the past cause for why Chakupala become blind. The story of past life was Chakupala in the past life was a famous physician, doctor. There was a woman who has severe sight problem, came to seek treatment. This woman was very desperate. In a desperate thinking, a person can promise anything. So this woman promised that she and her children all are willing to be the doctor's slave if he could cure her. Now, this doctor, thinking that he has a great bargain, he immediately gave her the medicine. However, when the sight of this patient, this woman is getting better, her thinking changed. Our thinking changed depending on situation. So she decided she doesn't want to be a slave. So he lied to her, she lied to him, saying that her eyesight is actually getting worse. But the doctor knew that she was lying, thinking that, this doctor think that I'm being cheated and taking advantage by the woman. He was furious. But if you step back and see, did he lose anything? Did the doctor lose anything? No. Maybe he lose some medicine, but he didn't lose anything. But it's our thinking that, the thinking that he was cheated. This doctor, the past life of Chakupala, gave the woman poison, telling her that it's medicine. And this woman become totally blind. So this is the cause for him becoming blind in this life. So again, I'm saying that we live our life according to our thinking. And Buddha ends this story by saying that, again, the similar words, Mano pubangama dhamma, mano seta mano maya, manasa ce padutena, pasati wa karoti wa, tato nam dukkha manveti, chakam wa wahato padam. Thought is the forerunner of all phenomena. Thought is the chief. All things are made of thought. If one speaks or acts with a wicked mind, because of that, suffering follows one, even as a wheel follows the hoof of a plowing ox. So our thoughts are the one that creates this karma also. Okay, so maybe until here, enough stories and all. Okay, question. We live life according to what we think. Example, if we think the world is a dangerous place, we will live in fear. Should we think otherwise, as in the positive side? Would it then be a preconceived notion? No, I'm not asking you to think on the positive side. I'm asking you to see that whether it's positive or negative, it's all created by your mind. So you don't have to believe them. Okay? You just live accordingly. If you want to create positive, you can, but then you will have this pressure that I have to create positive. Okay.
Any more questions?
Questions?
Okay, from Jenny Fu.
Okay. Okay, I see the questions. How do we practice like what Buddha say, seeing is merely seeing and hearing is merely hearing? As it's hard to tell yourself this is the first time we see a person when we have known them before. Okay, it's hard. That's why I think I say, but also if you think it's hard, it's going to be hard. Okay, so what happens is you have to try to see that every time when we see something, we are adding in all our background. You have to, through practice. Nothing happens easily without practice. You have to keep looking at the direction that I'm adding things all the time. Adding actually takes effort. Then if you keep seeing that I'm always adding all the time, there'll be one day that you will stop adding. Okay, but it might not happen overnight, but it might. Any other questions? Okay, Bante, can you repeat again? How do we overcome fear, anxious, worries usually in our mind? Will take how long to forget it? The fastest way, of course, is your fear, your anxious, your worries comes from your thinking. Your thinking of fearful thoughts, anxious thoughts, worries thoughts. So if you don't continue thinking those thoughts, then you don't have this feeling. If you can't do that, this is the best, fastest way, shortcut. But if you can't do the shortcut, one way is if you have fear, anxious, worries, take refuge in the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, think of the good qualities of the Buddha. So Buddha says one way is you think of good things that will get you out from this negative thinking. Okay. Another question, maybe good example is current pandemic situation. If we fear the pandemic, we will live in fear constantly. Rather, we just have to take precaution and SOP and continue living wisely, correct? If you keep fearing that the pandemic, you will actually make it worse. And there's a good example of a very famous now motivational speaker called Anita Mojani, M-O-R-J-A-N-I. She, at one time, her best friend had cancer, and she had so much fear of getting cancer herself that she started eating healthy food and all that, not because she wants to be healthy, because of a fear of cancer. And finally, she herself had cancer. So the more you are fearful of something, the more you will get it. So, but I'm not asking you not to be careful. You have to be careful, but if you are so fearful, it doesn't help. Then you will get it. Can we say that those affected with seen COVID-19 is due to karma? Not everything is due to karma. So we don't know whether it's due to karma. It's possible, high possibility, but maybe not. We can't say. Because karma is conditionality, not a curse. But whether it's due to karma or not, it doesn't make a difference. So we still have to help these people. We can't say because due to your karma, we're not going to take care of you. In fact, we have to have more compassion because these people didn't know better in the past life. If it's due to karma, it's because they're ignorant of how life works. They do something bad because they didn't know, they're ignorant, and now they have to suffer. So we have to have more compassion for them. Okay.
Okay, there's a question from Boon Siu. So do you want to unmute yourself and ask the question? Boon Siu?
Bante, my question is, actually, as a lay person, right, as we are working all the while, and there's a lot of trouble in our life. So is it better for us to put more time or even a full time to practice the Dharma in order to get out or to achieve something like Buddha teaching?
It's good to spend more time in the Dharma, but it depends on person. You need to make aspiration. It cannot happen overnight. You need to make aspiration that I want to spend more time. Then the correct condition comes. It cannot be by force. Okay. Meantime, try to do more merits. If you do more merits, it will help you to be more happy, more peaceful. Okay. Merits as in dana, generosity, sila, take precepts, cultivate the mind of doing, metta or any other, thinking of the Buddha's quality, doing service. Service is an easy one. Doing, paying respect to people who are elderly or respectful people, sharing merits, rejoicing in others people's merits, listening to Dhamma, sharing Dhamma, and straightening one's view. So try to do more merits, which will make you the mind more peaceful and happy. And it will also help you at the same time, if you keep making aspirations, may I have the conditions to learn more Dhamma? Okay?
Yeah, actually, I did all this like they mentioned. Yeah, thank you.
So keep doing and keep making aspiration that may the right conditions for me to learn more Dhamma. You need to have the right.
Let's say if let's say I have the condition in order to have a full-time like meditation, is it should be the way to go for it?
It depends on people. I can't make a decision for you. So it depends on you. If you find a suitable teacher, suitable condition, then by all means go ahead. Okay? Because it has to be suitable for that person. Each person has different karma.
Yeah, understood. Okay, thank you, Bante.
Okay, someone has this question. Bante, as what Bante said, we can just seeing and aware of our thoughts. I try it, but I just got stressed, tight between elbow. Why? Okay, don't try too hard to see your thoughts. I'm just saying that if you are very angry, means you have a lot of angry thoughts, then just don't continue with the thoughts. Okay. Yeah, so that's the best way. Don't have to check what thoughts you have. Just know that your thoughts are influencing you. And when you see that and not believe in it, then it doesn't hold you that much. Aspiration to achieve Sotapanna, just think can achieve. No. If to be Sotapanna, you need to make aspiration. Aspiration is a very important step, but aspiration without effort, of course, you can't achieve. If you think that I want to be rich, but you don't do anything, you just goyang kaki every day, it will never happen. But if you don't have this intention, you will also never happen, even though you work very hard every day. So the intention is very important. Okay.
Bante.
Yeah,
Bante.
but I think we should. Okay, Yen, last question.
Yes. Very often, all these motivational coaches tell us that we manifest what we think. Yep. We attract what we think, right? So they always tell you to think positive thoughts and keep affirming those positive thoughts. So would you say that that is the way to go? because we do not want to dwell in all the negative thoughts, right? So therefore, if we can actually just think positive, then, you know, say for instance, we want to be happy, we want to be peaceful, we just think those happy, peaceful thoughts, and these will come to us. Is that the way, I mean, to do it?
No, okay, I'm not against thinking positive thought, but I have repeat quite a few times that what I'm trying to share with you is not about thinking positive or negative thoughts. It's about going beyond this to see that whether it's positive thoughts or negative thoughts, it's all illusion created by your mind. So you are not tricked by your thoughts. But if you want to create positive thoughts, it's okay. You can by all means go ahead. But I'm just saying that if you tell yourself that I have to create positive thoughts, then you are under this pressure that every time you have to create these positive thoughts. Yeah. But it's not bad. It's much better than creating negative thoughts, of course. If given a choice, A, create negative thoughts, B, create positive thoughts, C, of course, is the best that you don't believe positive or negative thoughts, then I'll choose C. But if I only have A or B, I'll of course choose the create positive thoughts. And positive thoughts, yes, it works, but it sometimes works, sometimes might not work. Because it also depends on conditionality. Yeah, so if you believe that if I have positive thoughts, it will always work, then you also get into trap, because then when it doesn't work, you will get very sad. You will get upset. It works, but sometimes it doesn't. Yeah, so I'm trying to tell you that positive and negative, it's illusion. And then also, your reason of thinking positive thoughts is to manifest something out there. So you are still thinking that something out there will give me the happiness. And throughout this series, I've told you two things. One, your happiness is inside you all the time. You are happiness. So you don't need something out there to make you happy. Number two, you never feel the outside there for your happiness. You feel your thinking of outside there. Change your thinking. Whatever manifests, you're also happy. You don't even have to manifest. I'm telling you something which is much more shortcut. Positive thinking, you still have to think positive to manifest something great so that you can enjoy this thing. But I'm telling you that you don't even have to manifest. You don't even have to think positive, because you are already positive inside you. And also, your happiness comes from your thinking, doesn't come from these things out there. Yeah, it's one step over this. It's a faster shortcut. Okay.
Thank you, Bhante.
Yeah. Okay. No other questions, huh? Okay.
Sorry, one last question. Yeah.
From the text, it says, Bhante, in our daily life, can we say that, can we control our thought? No, I keep saying don't control our thought, because the thoughts are not real. So when you try to control the thoughts, you think it's real. You make it more real. When you control the thoughts, more thoughts will come because you think it's real. So I keep telling you all, just don't treat the thoughts as real. Okay, that's the, okay, maybe we end today because too much rain. The sound also not very clear.
Bhante, a few more questions from the online one.
Oh, online, sorry, I forgot. Okay, we'll quickly answer the online.
Yeah.
Okay, thinking is such a double-edged sword, can uplift you to the ninth heaven and also push you down the abyss. Can we look through this double agent and no longer be fooled by it? Thanks. Yeah, that's why I keep saying, don't believe the thoughts, okay? Because they are not real. They are stories created by you. Okay, next. Very useful. Okay, this is a feedback. Very useful, but our thinking is always shaped by our habitual tendency rather than the Dharma. Hopefully, the organizer and Bhante can continue to have this kind of Dharma sharing sessions so that we can constantly remind ourselves of the fallacy of our thinking. A big thank you to the organizer and Bhante. Okay, Sadhu, next. Bhante, this question is relating to anatta. If there is no self, then what initiates the doing or actions of a person? Okay, two answers to this. Number one is, water rises up to the air, and when it's hot, water rises up to the sky, and then condense become clouds, and then the clouds got heavy and rain falls down. There's no one controlling this action. It happens by itself, law of nature. So similarly, we are formed from 5 aggregates, 5 processes that runs by itself. But because we are deluded, we think there's a self. So this wrong idea of a self also initiates doings or actions. Okay. But when you break this idea of a self, we still do action. Our hearts still do action. We call it functional. There is no intention. It's like the water going up to the sky and then forming clouds and then rain coming down. Okay, next. Next question.
That's all, Bante.
Oh, that's all. Okay, good. I think we end now because too heavy rain.
Yeah, okay, all right. Thank you, Venerable. And now we will proceed with the dedications of merits.
Merits, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So we share merits with all sentient beings, all devas, all Dharma protectors, all guardian deities. Share merits with all family members, relative friends, especially departed family member, relative friends, and chasters. And make aspiration always with the wise, avoid the foolish, all the way until we realize Nibbana. And then again at the end, we share merits with each and every single being, wishing each and every single being has equal share of merits. Etawata cha'amehi sampadang punya sampadang sabe deva numodantu sabba sampati siddhya. Etawata cha'amehi sampadang punya sampadang sabe buta numodantu sabba sampati siddhya. Etawata cha'amehi sampadang punya sampadang sabe sata numodantu sabba sampati siddhya. Idame nyatinang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo. Idame nyatinang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo. Idame nyatinang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo. Imina punya kamena mame bala samagamo. Satang samagamo hotu yawa nibbana patiya. Idame punyang asawa kaya wahang hotu. Idame punyang nibbana sa pacayo hotu. Mama punya bagang sabba satanang pajema. Te sabe me samam punya bagang labantu. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Venerable Sirs, Brothers and Sisters in Dhamma, we have now reached the end of the session for today. So if you have any other questions, you may submit it through the Google link form. It is in the WhatsApp group. And also, there is another Dhamma talk tomorrow by Bante Mahinda at 4 p.m. And the topic is mindfulness leads to true freedom. So if you are keen to join, you may follow our BMSM Facebook page for more updates and also the details. All right, so thank you and have a good night.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Thank you. Sadhu,
Bante.
Sadhu, 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 everyone.
Sadhu, 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 Bante.
Sadhu, sadhu,
Good night, everyone.
Sadhu, sadhu, Bante.
Sadhu, 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 Bante.
Okay. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Sadhu.
Sadhu, 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 Bante.
Sadhu.